And now for something completely different.
Our latest adventure was something really, really different. The Airstream stayed parked in the driveway. The van stayed parked in the driveway. Instead, we got a rental car and went on a good old-fashioned road trip.
We loaded up in Michigan and drove 12 hours to Massachusetts to see an area because we were invited out by some friends that we know there. And we said, why not? We haven't done this in a long time, so let's do it. And it was a blast. Along the way, we kept coming up with kind of quick tips that we wanted to share with people and some lessons learned because we messed up a couple of times. So here are our road trip quick tips for you.
Tip number 1, listen to the locals. We basically drove to Massachusetts without any plans other than we knew where we were going to stay the first couple nights. Once we got there, we talked to our friends, we talked to some other people. They gave us some great suggestions of things to see and do in the area. We got to see some really cool old historic houses from some of the fancy people that used to live there, including J.P. Morgan's sister and Edith Wharton, the famous book author. So we got to see their old estates. We walked around some old downtowns and just checked out some old buildings because this is a part of the country that was built in the 1700s. So there's a lot of old history there and some really, really cool buildings. Checked out some local historic sites, the last battlefield of Shays' Rebellion, the birthplace of W.E.B. Du Bois. Another one of the local tips was a hike to a waterfall, which turned out to be one of our favorite things of the trip.
We just hiked about, a mile or so maybe up Race Mountain to see some really pretty waterfalls here in Sheffield, Massachusetts.
We just saw the lower falls and the middle falls. There is a third upper falls, but we're not going that far today. It's a little bit of a strenuous hike up, and we decided we had other things that we wanted to see and do today. But the view from up here, even on kind of a cloudy, misty day, is very gorgeous.
If you get a chance to hike up Racebrook Trail towards the upper falls there, and then you can connect to the Appalachian Trail. And somebody told us actually when you get up there, you can reach a part where you can look out for a 360-degree view of the mountains and the valley. And I think that would be really pretty.
Yeah, I'd really, really like to do that, but we weren't kind of prepared for that today. And so we're just going to go do some other things and see some historic stuff. But I'm glad we at least came up this far just to even get the views that we did.
Yeah, and even the hike to lower falls and the middle falls, it's really pretty. There's some up and downs. There's lots of, it's just a really pretty trail when you're here in the woods.
Definitely a lot of rocks and roots because you are climbing the mountains in here. And so you got to watch your step. But, it's worth the hike.
Tip number 2, and this is my tip no matter how you travel, get off the interstate. As they said in planes, trains, and automobiles, the only thing you see on the interstate is interstate. And you don't get to see any of the cool little towns. You don't get to find neat things along the way. You don't get to slow down and enjoy your travel. And as a side note, on the way out to Massachusetts, we ended up taking toll roads because we had less time to get there than we did to get back. And we avoided the toll roads and the interstate on the way back. And the way back was so much nicer. It's so much cheaper.
Piggybacking off of getting off the interstate brings us to tip number 3, follow your whims. This worked well for us because, especially since we were in the rental car without towing anything, I could just tell Ari, hey, turn around, there's a covered bridge, we gotta go. And so he would find a place to turn around and back we'd go and we'd check out that covered bridge.
Which by the way, was like 2 or 3 miles in this really long, dirt, windy road. When you said, hey, there's a covered bridge right near here,
well, it looks
I thought it was closer
on the map.
Map not to scale, but it was worth it. It was cool to see it.
It also allowed us to stop at some scenic overlooks where we wouldn't necessarily have been able to go if we'd had the trailer because we wouldn't have fit. We just wouldn't have been able to turn around as easily. But following your whims allowed us to sort of look at the map or see road signs and just stop. Or as we'd be driving by something, one of those happened to be this gorgeous, huge viaduct railroad bridge from, way back. And we stopped to look at it. We pulled off. We took some pictures. That came back to us later when we visited Steamtown. And in the museum was a little model display of that bridge. And had we taken the interstate, we would have never seen it. So that was a good reason to not only get off the interstate, but kind of follow our whims of just stopping and seeing cool things.
That was awesome to walk in a museum at Steamtown National Historic Site in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And we walked into that room. I'm like, hey, that viaduct looked really familiar because we had just been there.
Yeah. So that was cool. But I think, along the way on this road trip, we did pull off and we saw a handful of, whether it was just like cool scenery or historic places or just small towns that we don't always take the time to do when we're traveling, we're trying to get from point A to point B.
Or it's not as easy to travel because we are hauling the trailer or we have the van. I know at one point, and I think part of this tip also is pull out the map occasionally and just look around, because we were sitting there and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, we're right near Hyde Park. We're near Hyde Park. And I didn't know what that meant. And then it turned out it's because that's where Eleanor Roosevelt's cottage and everything was. So you had a really good time doing that too.
Yeah, that's a little bit of me being a history buff. I love anything to do with the Roosevelts, Teddy, FDR, Eleanor. And Hyde Park is where FDR was from and where him and Eleanor made their home and where she had Valkill Cottage. And it was really on our way, and on our way is everywhere when you're on a road trip. And so we got to visit that, and that was really cool for me.
Tip number 4 is take advantage of the vehicle that you have. We often talk about how everything's along the way when you're towing your house, and we do take advantage of having our house with us normally. But this time, because we had a smaller rental vehicle, it was more exciting for you, I think, to be able to say, hey, wait, turn around, go back. But it was easier for me to be able to do that. And we had better gas mileage. We had more flexibility and a more nimble vehicle. So it was just take advantage of that vehicle and don't be afraid to take a route you might not normally take, because now's the time. Your car is small enough and short enough to drive across a historic wooden bridge. Do that.
Speaking of rental cars, tip number 5 is what's in your wallet. What this means is what is in your normal car and what is in your trailer that you need to remember to take with you when you go on a road trip. And you can learn from our mistakes of what we forgot to take with us to help you out next time. The first big one being, don't forget your national park pass. Because even if you don't plan on going on any national parks on your trip, you're going to find yourself at a national park or a national historic site or a national lakeshore and really wish that you had taken your pass.
And, it's one of those things where you could carry it in your wallet, and I probably should start doing that. But because we usually have it in the hang tag that you put in the window, it was in the van. And I didn't even think about it until we started to get toward a national park and go, oh, wait, I don't have the pass with us.
And not that we couldn't have paid the $15 to get in, but it was sort of just the point of, oh, shoot, we forgot it. And we had wanted to see a couple different sites, and it would have been really expensive, and we didn't really want to buy another one. And so anyways, just remember your park pass. But also remember the basic things like your sunglasses, Kleenex, any phone charger, adapters, some of the basic stuff that we just take for granted having in, because you never know what your rental car is going to have for plugs. And one of the other things is you mentioned tolls. We have like the SunPass transponder, so we had to make sure that we grabbed that from our vehicle to take with us so that we could do the toll roads when we had to. So that was another one.
Don't forget to empty the rental vehicle too. And we were really good about that. And we ended up with a tire problem on the first rental vehicle and had to swap to a different rental vehicle. So that wasn't that big of a deal. But as much as we cleaned both vehicles out, both times I almost forgot that transponder that was stuck in the window. So Luckily we remembered it and we still have it. But that's something to remember also, is make sure you clean it out really well when you're done.
Well, we found somebody else's sunglasses in the rental car too. So it does happen.
As far as packing the rental car, you brought up a lot of good things to remember your own personal items. And just because I like to be prepared, maybe because I'm Gen X and we always assume something's going to go wrong and we need to be ready for it, because that's what MacGyver taught us, I packed a little emergency kit bag. And so I looked in the van and said, what do we normally carry? I usually have a good flashlight or a work light with us. I have work gloves. I carry a first aid kit. And so I grabbed all of that stuff out of the van, made a little bag, tossed it in the rental car. And luckily, we didn't really need any of it, but we had it if we did. And I think it's always just best to be prepared.
Well, and especially if that tire situation had happened any other place than where we were at the moment, that could have been a much bigger deal. So it's nice to have that emergency stuff on hand.
Also, I've mentioned before in other videos that we've gotten so spoiled by having that Dometic powered cooler. I don't know how people have a vehicle without a refrigerator in it. I did take that out of the van and put it in the rental car, and it came in super handy.
Having the refrigerator was nice, but I really, really missed our potty. There was a couple times that would have come in handy.
Yeah, I often talk about it's great when we tow our own house. You mostly are thinking we tow our own bathroom.
Well, and we even have the little portable potty in the van too. So we are never without that. And also, bonus tip, it's a road trip. So pretend you're a 12-year-old with a $20 bill at the convenience store and take all the snacks, because it's not a road trip if you don't have all the junk food.
So that's our list of road trip tips and tricks. Do you have anything that's worked out really well? Put it in the comments below. Have you ever made any mistakes and you learned from them? Help us all out and let us learn from your mistakes. Put those in the comments below. In the meantime, keep on trekking.
And we'll see you out there.
Tip number 2, and this is my tip whether you're on a road trip, you're hauling an RV, you're just on a bicycle, I don't care how you're traveling. I don't want to see that. All right, you're not on the interstate on a bicycle.
Not go on the interstate on a bicycle.
All right.
They frown on that.
I got it.